The boardroom was quiet when they told me to pack my things. "Effective immediately," one of them said, like he was announcing a weather report. I smiled, thanked them, and walked out without a single objection. They thought I was defeated. They thought the funeral had buried me too. Monday would prove them wrong. I still remember the first time I met Richard Hayes, the man they buried last week. The first time I shook his hand, he looked at me as though he'd already made a decision. He was the kind of man who read people faster than contracts. I was fresh out of law school, arrogant and hungry. He saw potential, maybe too much. He gave me everything: access, trust, mentorship. I grew under him, not behind him. I wasn't his assistant, I was his shadow. The kind of bond that makes people whisper. He didn't have children, no family worth naming. I suppose, in his eyes, I became both protégé and heir. Which is why betrayal tasted worse when it came from the board. The very people who used to send me drinks, smile too wide, pretend I mattered. I wasn't blind. I saw the way their eyes shifted after his health started failing. Whispers after meetings, calls that went silent when I entered the room. At first, I told myself I was paranoid, but paranoia doesn't leave lipstick stains on contracts. Paranoia doesn't explain the financial leaks I started finding hidden in shell companies run by cousins and golf buddies. Paranoia doesn't send unsigned emails to my inbox warning me that once Richard was gone, I'd be next. They underestimated my silence. They thought because I didn't confront them, I didn't know. But I was already building my arsenal. The day Richard called me into his hospital room, he was thin, pale, but his eyes burned. "They'll eat you alive when I'm gone," he said, his voice gravel but steady. Then he handed me a folder. Inside, a transfer. 51%. The company. His empire. Mine. He smiled weakly. "You don't fight wolves with teeth. You fight them with the leash." I didn't tell a soul, not even when I watched him lowered into the ground and the board offered me hollow condolences. Not when they started treating me like a placeholder. Not even when they gathered in that sterile room and fired me as though it were a mercy killing. I left quietly, because power works best when it's invisible, until it isn't. The week that followed was methodical. Step 1, let them relax. I knew their arrogance would swell the moment I walked out. They'd laugh about it, drink to it, convince themselves they'd cut off the last loose end. Step 2, prepare the legal trap. I contacted no one directly, only my attorney, the one Richard trusted. By Monday, papers would be filed, but not in court. Courts are messy, public. I preferred precision. Step 3, line up the dominoes. Suppliers, partners, investors who owed me favors. I made calls in the dead of night, calm and careful. Each one confirmed what I already knew. The board's loyalty wasn't to the company, it was to money. And money follows majority control. Step 4, wait. The hardest part. But patience was my weapon. Monday morning, I walked into headquarters wearing the same calm smile I'd worn when they terminated me. The receptionist froze, unsure if she should stop me. She didn't. People rarely stop someone who walks like they own the ground beneath them. I pushed open the glass doors of the boardroom mid-meeting. Papers scattered. Their laughter died. "Thought we asked you to leave?" one of them sneered. "You did," I said. I placed the folder on the table. "But you don't fire an owner." The silence was thick. I could see the confusion spread. Then the fear. One by one, they opened the documents. Transfer of ownership. Richard's signature. Legal seals. Irrefutable. "You can't," one of them started. His voice broke before he finished. "Oh, but I can," I said softly. "Richard made sure of it." The realization spread like poison. They weren't just powerless, they were trapped. Every scheme, every dollar siphoned, every conflict of interest, they were about to be exposed. I could take this public, I continued, keeping my tone calm, conversational. Or I could handle it privately. Resignations effective immediately. Quiet, clean, dignified. They looked at one another, the weight of inevitability pressing down. Wolves stripped of teeth. One by one, they agreed. Some signed with trembling hands, others with rage boiling in their eyes. None resisted. When I left that room, I wasn't smiling. Not yet. Victory isn't the moment you win, it's the silence that follows, when your enemies realize they've lost everything. That night, I poured myself a drink and sat by the window, city lights blinking below. I thought of Richard, his gravel voice, his warning, his trust. They buried him last week. They tried to bury me with him. But on Monday, I reminded them I don't go quietly. And now, they never will either.